Teased you guys.
Yeah, I'm doing that bass line again. Boom, boom.
Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and I'm joined today by my good friends Quis and Foxy. What's up, guys? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year back at you. Salute to you. Salute to the chat. Salute to Keys. Salute to SV Nation. Salute to the Knicks-Verse family. Whew.
Whew, that's a mouthful.
You ain't kidding.
Yeah.
Man, got it out. All right.
Starting it on a roll, I see. We're starting this show the same way we ended the last one, right?
Smiles on our face, and that's a good thing.
Man, was that game fun? At least fun to watch in general for us.
Yep.
I'll take a win at any cost at this point.
Yeah,
Facts,
any kind of win. But it was sure nice to see. It was nice to see RJ really step up, and then the rest of the team feeding off of it. Not everybody on the team did. Certain Frenchmen did not. But Mr. Julius Randle, his first game back from COVID. What's any additional thoughts on that game before we move into our topics today?
Well, you guys know how I felt about the start of the game. He was still on the stream. The first two turnovers, I lost my mind. But hey, he figured it out, and he went out with COVID, came back, and it looks like he found his mid-range jump shot. He was 4-6 for the night from the mid-range, so that's nice. Even though he didn't shoot great from three, I think once he's feasting from the mid-range, we're going to get a version of Julius that we saw last year. So the fact that he was able to get the ball rolling fresh from COVID, I like that. But also, I got to temper my expectations because we know with this team, and we know with Julius Randle specifically, is Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. So I'm really excited to see how this team comes out today. And, I'll make my judgments from there, but I won't get too excited. I won't get too happy, but I'm definitely in a better space now than headed into the game.
Good.
I make it seem like I'm on the court. I'm in a better space.
I can hear that extra little sparkle in your voice too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. How about you, Foxy?
Hey, did you guys see that viral video of the person watching the first two turnovers by Randall and screaming at the TV? It's hysterical.
It a piece?
It could have been.
In that case, we should have kept the cameras rolling.
Man, the F-bombs were dropping, and it was like, yo. But both him and RJ, I was really happy with their aggressiveness, getting to the rim, as he said, that mid-range on Randall. And if we were hitting shots, he could have had probably 10 assists that game. Nobody was hitting. So I was glad about it. And, we all shared that probably the biggest stat of the night was them shooting 63.4% from two. And
that's the Foxy highlight stat.
Yo.
I put that on my post game.
Yeah, I saw. Thank you, my friend.
I shouted you out.
As always. So, but I was glad. And hopefully we're going to come with a game face. There was obviously lots of concerns. So everyone was elated. We won the game and was elated with the 62 points between RJ and Randall. But we shot 21.4% from three as a team. We had only 17 assists as a team. We shot 71% from the foul line. And
did we shoot 19 something percent not that long ago from the 3-point line? Like our 3-point shot is gone.
Yeah, it's nuts. So we got to pick that up, and so there, we were happy in one way, but it took 28 threes in the whole game. So I don't know if that was good because we weren't hitting, but as George said, we like getting 37 to 40 a game, and we only went up with 28 last game.
Well, it's good that you pointed that out because that is the reason that the Celtics were kind of still hanging around when they shouldn't have been. Because we weren't hitting our threes. If we were hitting our
Celtics
threes,
or the Pacers?
The Pacers.
Yeah.
The Pacers. If we had been hitting our threes, at a normal pace, this game would have been a 20-point lead easily.
Clyde said it headed into the halftime. He said it seems like the Knicks are dominating, but they're still hanging around. That's an ominous sign.
Yeah. And luckily the Pacers
why
weren't
some
hitting.
fans don't like Clyde.
They weren't hitting either.
Frazier, he lays it down straight.
Yeah, I know. Clyde
love him.
Even though he has like this incredible vocabulary and this very floral,
swishing and dishing.
What he's actually saying is cuts right to the bone.
Yeah,
I mean, he was calling out Julius lately, and so is Mike Breen.
Yep.
And they're much more eloquent and astute way than we do. or like he's trash. No, they do it. They do it with finesse.
Right.
Yeah, they're wonderful. We're lucky to have them, man. Because I watch a lot of other broadcasts. There's others that are good, but no duo is as good as those two guys in terms of really knowing the game.
And Wiley's a solid understudy.
Yeah. Like one thing, just to piggyback on this topic of the last game, the performance of Julius and RJ. What is it? Do you guys feel like what? I mean, why haven't we seen this before this season? Why haven't we seen this from Julius? Really, I would say that was the best game that he's played. The other night, that was his best all-around game. Even though his first quarter wasn't that good, so let's say his best last 3 quarters.
He only shot 2 from 7, so I think he's had better games than that. But I'll take the game, man. I'll definitely take the game. And what did he have? He only had 3 turnovers.
3 turnovers, and those
but two in the beginning.
Those 2 came in the first 2 times.
Right.
Yeah, so that was pretty darn good, man.
Hey, and we've talked about this before. It's not so much that he commits turnovers; it's when he commits them. In those third quarters when we're desperately clawing either to hold on to a lead or to, make up a deficit. 2, 3 turnovers in a row. They kill you, or in the fourth quarter.
And they usually lead the buckets too, because Julius, when he turns it over, he's not really hustling back down the court. So now you have at least a 4-on-5, a 5-on-4.
It's almost like he's stunned for like a half, for like a second and a half. He's like, and then he's I got to do something. Yeah. Do you guys think it's replicable? It's a big question, and I will let Foxy go first on this one because
I don't know. I don't know. He only took what two threes, hit 2 threes. Barrett. Yeah, so he was eating, but I just don't know with all the guys, Brogdon and Duarte and Levert, everybody that was out. We got lit up by something called a guy named Kiefer Sykes and Dwayne Washington, and that's embarrassing, man. He made Fournier look frightening. He made him look like he was a kid. So I don't know. When is the Fournier experiment on the first team at least going to be over? So, but I think it's replicatable.
We're going to talk about who should be. Sorry, so I know you guys know too. Tell everybody else. We're going to talk about who should actually be the starting 5 moving forward, even when Kemba becomes available and Nerlens. We're going to talk about that. But I was more referencing to Julius and RJ specifically in terms of replicable. I mean, 30 plus points together. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the way that they approached the game, their efficiency, how they fed off each other in some respects. What I saw was Julius kind of struggling in the first quarter, but RJ took the lead. What, he scored 19 in that first quarter?
He did.
So he helped, and I think Julius kind of just relaxed, finally, let the game start coming to him, and he was feeding off RJ, which was nice. I don't know. I mean, is any of this something that we can see again tonight, for example?
Well, I think we can see really bad coaching by Tibbs again. He pissed me royally off in that game. RJ was hot. I'm old school. You feed the hot guy. Burks was looking him off. Second quarter, like you said, 19 points. And they pulled a cooler on the poor kid. He could have 40, man, in that game if they just kept feeding him. He was going to his left. Nobody was stopping him, and he was beasting. And what do? They don't pass to him for like a freaking quarter and a half. It was like, and that's on Tibbs. It's bad enough that the vets that he glorifies, they didn't have the sense to do that. But our Obi going from 44 minutes the game before to 9 minutes. Benching Deuce, and I kept, just saying to myself, what the hell is going on here? Especially when a Kiefer Sykes is a 6-foot quick guard is lighting up a 6'6" Burks. So Tibbs pissed me off royally, man. And I think that's replicatable.
All right. Well, Quis, how about you? What do you feel about the ability of Randall and RJ to replicate that similar type of game that they had against the Pacers? Like ongoing.
I think it's something that they can definitely repeat. I mean, we saw moments where Kemba and Julius were able to both cook with some gas and have great games together. So I think as a pairing, we can see RJ and Julius Randle both dominating their own games. As long as Julius Randle was being able to knock down his mid-range shots. Like I said at the start of the show, he was 4-6. RJ, he was great getting into the paint, playing that bully ball, which is his game. If he's able to go up against guys and get good position and finish around the rim, I think this team is going to be extremely dangerous. I think in the game, you saw that RJ, even though his shot wasn't falling, he was still pretty confident attacking, finishing through contact. So is this something that the Knicks can do time and time again, or tonight? I think it'll be a little bit more difficult tonight because they're going to be going up against stiffer competition against Brown. Did they say if Tatum will be available or not?
I think he played last night.
Yeah.
Tatum is
okay.
Available.
So Tatum will be available, and going up against those two, he's going to have to work more on defense, and offensively, we're going to still see if he'll be able to mirror this game he had against the Pacers against the Celtics. So if RJ is able to be that second piece for Julius Randle to take some of the pressure off, then I think we can see Julius Randle not make so many boneheaded plays. I think we saw to start the game, Julius Randle had those turnovers, but once we saw that RJ was cooking, like you said, George, he kind of eased into his flow and was able to pick his spots out there on the court and knock down his shot. So we saw somewhat of a blueprint. It's just going to be difficult for us to try to get everything to fall in line against a stiffer opponent tonight. But I think we can do it.
Yeah, I think whether we'll do it like consistently, that'll be the real key. But this is what we should have seen this performance already. We should have seen this already in the first 10, 15 games, especially the two of them going off for can we believe that was the first time they both hit over 30, got over 30 points or more in the same game? I was surprised at that. Yeah, because
we don't come on the show every day and say they're a great pairing. They're still learning how to play together. So
yeah, it was kind of weird because at the beginning of the season or the earlier games, you saw the collaboration or the working between Fournier and Randle, but it looked like RJ and Randle took that over now. There was little communication. It was more drill handoffs between those two. When in the beginning of the season, it was more Fournier and Randle doing that. Yeah. So it was nice. And I think them having that communication, okay, you take it this time, I'll take it next time, I think makes everybody happier. And imagine if we had a stretch five so they could really slash into the hole, those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Stretch five. The one thing that's, I'm glad you brought that up because, actually, it was when Taj was on the floor, but also when Mitch was out there too. The paint wasn't as crowded.
They played a good game, man.
Yes, the spacing was right. Guys were in the right spots when RJ decided to drive. It wasn't like sometimes you see decide to drive, and then either Fournier or someone else starts collapsing into the paint, and then it starts getting all cluttered. No, they were hanging back. And that allowed RJ the breathing room to at least either attempt the shot or, find Julius for a nice little handoff, nice little pass to him for that was a nice dunk. Yeah, I think there was something there. I hope it wasn't an accident. I hope they can actually replicate it because it didn't seem like they were doing anything that outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like they were Julius wasn't
fundamentals.
He wasn't taking crazy shots.
He was taking his shot.
He was taking his shot, exactly. So and either was RJ. RJ wasn't doing anything crazy. He wasn't forcing it when he was going to the rim. The cool thing is he was getting fouled a lot. I
was about to say that was the key thing I want to piggyback on Quis, his aggressiveness. 8 foul shots. That's what we want, man. He was only getting, I think, 3 for the season so far. So him getting to the hole, 8 shots, that's what you want. And I've always said I love him at the 2 so he can bully undersized shooting guards.
Yeah. I think he's gotten to the line like 20 something times in the past 3 games.
Mm-hmm. That's a good sign.
That's a really good sign.
Another weird stat.
Oh, go ahead, Foxy.
I was going to just say real quick, a weird stat was Randle had 25 dunks in 71 games last season, and he has 26 dunks in 36 games. So I don't know if that's a combination of G League or him just being more aggressive at different.
No, I've known. We've talked about this before. He's been making a concerted effort to dunk, not just get up there. He's actually taking it all the way to the hoop, which is nice. But Quis, what you were going to say?
Dang, I forgot.
Sorry, man.
It's all
Foxy.
good. It's all. Oh, I was gonna say. Also, we saw RJ. He was actually finishing over Turner as well. So we saw him actually go and attack a shot
move.
That was gorgeous move.
That was
gorgeous
beautiful.
move. Beautiful pivot.
Beautiful.
That was big time.
So to see that was
Kyrie-esque.
Spectacular.
When
Spectacular.
The
And with his
center-
right hand.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we saw many like really good things from RJ. The usage of the right hand, finishing, and getting fouled. Now, and also he was able to find other people. I think he only had 3 assists, but at least he was able to keep the defense honest by the way he was approaching his drives. The other thing is that, here's the one thing I was going to say. I think actually the reason that he is getting these foul calls now is because he actually is finishing. In the past, I don't think the refs were going to give it to him if he wasn't finishing. Like, they would watch him and be like, you were just looking for the foul. It wasn't a real honest attempt to make that bucket. Now, so then the inverse reaction is the defense doesn't have to over commit. They don't have to get too physical with him because they know, hey, if we just kind of crowd him a little bit, he'll fling it up. It'll make a bad attempt, and we'll get that. And basically, it'll be a 5-on-4 a fast break because he'll be 2 feet behind his hoop. But now he's getting there. He's finishing. So now the defense has to be even more aggressive on him, in essence, committing the actual foul. So that little gray zone area where the refs are like, is that a foul, not a foul? I'm not going to give it to him. But now it's like now they're being more aggressive with him. So now they have to give him the call. And that is something that has to continue. I really hope that can continue.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about the man of the hour, Mr. Evan Fournier. Mr. Evan Fournier, I hope he does actually start tonight, even though in general, I really think he should not be starting anymore. But tonight, I mean, considering how well he's played against Boston, he's shooting 43.5% from three-point line against Boston, 53% overall against Boston. He's got a 117 offensive rating, a 110 defensive rating. So that's a plus 7.3 comes out to be. He's averaging 32 points a game against the Celtics with 5.5 assists, 3 assists and 5.5 rebounds. So I'm hoping that we see more of this type of Fournier tonight because we need it in general. But what are your guys? I mean, what's your general feeling about Evan Fournier this season? Really, here with these Knicks.
Take it, Quis.
Epic fail.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with
epic
Quis
fail when it comes to the signing. I mean, at this point, you hope
epic
you can
fail. You heard it right here.
Yeah. I mean, I better not be the only one saying it, because if you can find some glimmer of hope with this signing, please let me know, because I really don't see him fitting with this team. Can't play defense, and now his shot's not falling, so he's out there getting free checks each night. It's unfortunate that we decided to spend the money on him when you look at some of the other perimeter players and how they're performing on other teams. But if he was at least hitting his shot, there was something you could hold your hat on. But I mean, with the way he's been playing, it's at this point, try to get up his trade value and ship him out of town, because I just don't see where we can, turn the ship around. I mean, he can contribute to this team if he was knocking down his shots, but I just don't. There's nothing that I've seen from him that gives me any kind of confidence that things are going to change. I mean, he's not the player that I had expected when maybe he is the player I expected, the player that wasn't going to play defense, but the shot has just been non-existent. And he's not only has the shot been non-existent, he hasn't found other ways to really create and make a impact out there on the court. So for me, you just got to chop it up as a loss and hope you can move him to another team and try to get something for him.
I know you guys are impressed with his hustle on that loose ball play. He's absolutely.
He can get you some steals if you want to get a positive.
That's one major positive that he does give. That
in
general, we don't have that. Like RJ doesn't. RJ doesn't get us enough steals, in my opinion. But Fournier does do well with the steals. But that's about it at this moment.
You know who's second on our team in steals? Nerlens Noel. That says a lot.
Nerlens. Hey, Nerlens.
Total steals or steals per game?
Per game.
Per game.
Oh, well, he hasn't played enough games to really alter that.
No, but
he's very good at poking the ball away.
He pokes it out.
He has good hands on defense and no hands on offense. It's a real, it's wild.
Yeah, those stone hands of his, like they just jab at the ball. They can't catch it, but they can jab it out of the guy's hand. Yeah. Yeah. So what, how about you, Foxy? No, don't hold back. If you really, I know how much you love Evan Fournier and you love that signing. Just because Quis is against it, you don't need to hold back, Foxy.
No, I'm loyal to my Quis and I'm loyal to the truth. And terrible signing, just terrible signing, especially for this coach. It's not a Tibbs player, and his defense sucks, like he said. And he drives you crazy. Wow, look at this little burst of 3 shots in a row, and like, whoa, he's gonna have a great game, and then he only hits 2 for the rest of the day. That was like another Bullock. I used to call him Mr. First Half last year. Whoa, Bullock lit it up with 6 threes in the first half, and he finished the game with 7. So it's deja vu all over again. But at least he had some defense. This guy, as Key said, I don't think we can ship him out fast enough for me. And
I mean, in that OKC game, he scored that first 3-pointer, then didn't score the rest of the game.
Yeah, I know. But he has so many open looks, though. It's not like somebody's draped over him, and the ball is, and I've said this before. Like, I don't know if it's the Olympics, playing for France or whatever, but his shot's been hitting the front of the rim all year, and it's like that's like tired legs. And for a guy that's supposed to be, we heard before the season he's a 55% corner 3 shooter, and it's like, where is that? All these different things. 3-level scorer, where is that? So getting back to tonight's game, like you said, he's averaged 32, but Jalen just lit his ass up in the last game. So I don't know who he'll do on offense, but I guarantee that's replicatable of Jalen lighting him up tonight. He's just way too athletic, and we'll see how stubborn Tibbs is going with him rather than trying a Grimes or another solution, trying to stop Jalen from getting into his groove.
Yeah. Hey, do you guys think that Tibbs is his hands are tied in terms of that, in terms of being forced to start Evan? Or how much truth do you think there is to that?
I don't know. Quis, what do you think, brother?
Yeah, that's more of a Quis question.
That's more of a Quis question.
When in doubt, it's a Quis question.
Honestly, I don't see the front office forcing Tibbs to really start him, and I don't think Tibbs would listen. I mean, Tibbs can't force them to sign players, and they can't force Tibbs to play who needs to be played. Because if that was the case, you'd think Obi would have gotten more minutes out there on the court, because Obi was the first legitimate draft pick of this front office. So I don't think they're forcing Tibbs to start Evan Fournier. It's just, if you don't start Evan Fournier, it's going to be like with Kimba. Where is he going to fit in with the second unit? Because you have Grimes, who you want to get incorporated and get more minutes. So now if you have Burke, you get a healthy Kimba back at some point. It's going to be a lot of minutes up there that you can't really find enough space for. So I don't think it's the front office holding Tibbs' hand behind his back.
Yeah, it's a good thing you said that, because that kind of leads us right into our next topic here.
Hey, you want to take a second to say hi to our family?
Absolutely. Before we jump on this, salute to the chat. Thank you guys for joining us. Drop any questions you have for us specifically in there. And Lex the Destroyer, awesome, always here. Love you, man. Great mod. Rick Pennington, Citizen X.
Brendel let's Perez. Say a prayer for Citizen X. He's recovering from COVID. So everybody in the chat,
know that.
Our buddy Citizen X is getting over it. So we love you, man. Lord, take care of our guy and hope you feel better. Hey, salute to Danny Landis. Hope all is well with you and your family, my friend.
Yeah, get well soon, Citizen X.
Yo, the X-Man of the SV Nation, as I always call him.
Thanks.
Absolutely. All right, well, here we go. Basically threw up anyone I had silhouetted from my thumbnails in like a 5-minute window as I was eating my Whopper right before this thing started. I mean, you started talking about whether Fournier should continue starting or not. We were talking about whether Thibs is being forced to have him start. I actually think I think he has been. It's been a soft force, a soft encouragement. Keep him in a lineup. We signed him for some big money. He has a history of delivering eventually offensively. Let's see over time if he can finally become the player that we thought we were signing. And if you bench him, we may never really get to that point. It may demoralize him. We may lose his commitment, and we need this guy. We've got him signed for 3 years and a fourth as an option. So it's worth it for us to just keep riding the Fournier train until it finally proves one way or the other whether he should continue starting or not. I think there has been some kind of discussion of that. Maybe not as oblique as that, but I feel like there has been, because there really is no other justification for continuing to start him at this point. So that being said, I'm going to jump out first and say who I think should be the starting 5. At this point, moving forward, even when Kemba comes back, he's not available to play. Well, he is available to play tonight, but I don't think he's going to be. He's not going to play, and either is Nerlens. So that's
both listed as questionable.
Yeah, they're both questionable. So he's not going to start. And there was some good news about Mr. Derrick Rose. Mr. Derrick Rose, where was it? You sent it to me, Quis. Derrick Rose. Good news for Derrick Rose. He was recently cleared to start rehab after undergoing ankle surgery on December 22nd. That's very good news.
Yeah.
It's very good news. We're a losing team without Derrick Rose in the past 2 seasons. Just check the record. That's just the facts of that. So it's crazy to think that one player who didn't even start, who only started what has he started in total for the Knicks? Like less than 6 games, right?
This year?
Yeah, even last year, including last season and this season, I don't even think he started more than 5 or 6 games, and yet he contributes to actual winning in such a dramatic fashion. It's pretty wild to think about that. But anyway, so this is not factoring in when Derrick Rose will return, because we don't know. I hope he does return quickly, but you never know with him. You never know with anyone who gets an injury like that. Let's hope we get lucky. He does return soon. But at this point, moving forward, yeah, I think the five guys who closed the game last night, who played for the final, I believe it was the final 7.5 minutes total, were Burks, Randall, RJ, Mitch, and Quickly. Those 5. And when you look at those 5, they're actually very well balanced 5 in terms of offense and defense, which is what I really like about those 5. Now you could also swap out either Quick or Burks for Grimes. Either one of those two, you could do that in terms of what would be your most balanced starting 5. Now, I would like to see those guys. How about you guys? How about I'm going to start with Foxy this time.
Yeah, I've brought this. I definitely would go with Deuce, Grimes, RJ, Randall, Mitch, with my mentality being, we had Peyton last year. I think Deuce can play as much as that, and Deuce comes down the court and kicks it into Randall, and there goes the offensive set. Everything reacts off that, whether kickouts or him doing his thing. So I'd feel comfortable. I'm souring on IQ. His defense has gotten better, but I still don't think it's at the level of Deuce, and he's not hitting his shots. He's shooting terrible. He's shooting 33.5% from 3. He's shooting 38% field goal percentage. And just him, how many times do you see him do that pivot where he picks up his dribble and he does like an ice skater pivot, looking to find somebody? You'd think that he already have it in his head, because you already see that a couple of plays with Deuce kept his dribble, came around. He had a beautiful little pass, but I don't think that'll happen. So I think yours is probably more realistic because he's a favorite of Tibbs of IQ
That's
starting.
the other thing. I was trying to be a little realistic too.
No, you're right.
I mean,
you're right.
You know, cause I definitely would love to see a Deuce start. Definitely would like to see that, but I don't know. It seemed like he wouldn't even. He pulled him after 5 minutes in that second start.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't think I think it. I use the term chi. I think Burks. It impacts his energy when he plays point guard. It's not where he wants, man. And he does it. He's a good guy and everything, but leave him where he is, where he can eat. Don't put him in there. And you saw that a little guy ate him up, a nobody ate him up. It's quickness. You can't put, it's a hard thing for him. He's a good defensive guy, but don't ask him to go against fast, point guards.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. So you see Deuce, Grimes, RJ, Randall, and Mitch. Is that your starting five, Fox?
Yeah, and one last thing.
I love that starting five.
Yeah, and what I loved about the last game with Randall and RJ going to the hole, did you notice there was only 5 fast break points? Without all those long rebounds, you didn't have as many fast break points. And I think if you have a guy like Deuce kicking it in, he's going to be back there. He'll be there for a kick out 3, but if not, he's in a great position to stop transition buckets. He's already outside the perimeter if they do the right schemes.
All right. Quis, how about you? What's I guess I should have phrased it. I'm gonna split the question up. I'm gonna phrase it like this: Who do you?
What would we do, and what is Tibbs gonna do? That's how you're gonna split it up.
Well, no. Well, what Thibs should do, but also bearing in mind that it's Thibs making the decision. And then what is it? What's the 5? And if it's different, what's the 5 that you would just go with, regardless of the Thibs factor?
Yeah, I went with the Thibs factor.
Okay.
Yeah, so if I'm thinking Tibbs is probably going to go out there with a lineup of Kemba, RJ, Burks, Randall, and Mitch. And I would say Kemba. Me personally, I would like to have Kemba to start, try to increase his trade value. Hopefully he can come back healthy. We can move on from him and get some access. RJ Barrett, you already know, is entrenched in the starting lineup. Burks, I was on the fence between Burks or Quentin Grimes. Fournier, I'm done with him in the starting lineup. And with Kemba in the starting lineup, I've been saying it, all season, we can't have 2 minus defenders in the lineup together. So Burks is a better defender than Fournier, and Grimes is a better defender than the both of them. So either one I'd go with. But with Tibbs, I'm thinking he's going to go with the veteran presence in Burks. So Burks at the 3, and then you have Julius Randle, and then you have Mitch at the 5.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So the constant with all 3 of us is no
Fournier's out of there.
No Fournier in the starting lineup. So that's really the bottom line here. There you go. We got it here.
Roadcaster to the rescue.
And look, I know, he has not been good this season, has not been consistent, and especially defensively has been a liability. And offensively, he hasn't been the guy that we hoped he would be. He's actually performing kind of along the lines of his career numbers, but not of late career numbers, like his most recent 3 years. He's definitely below that, but in his full career, he is kind of in the similar area. He's definitely been a huge disappointment. And the main issue is, like you said, Kemba. I do believe that when Kemba becomes healthy, Kemba will start at point guard for Thibs. I think that'll be a Thibs decision. So if Thibs does do that, he cannot start Evan Fournier as well. You've said it before. You cannot
or will not.
He cannot. Cannot. At this point,
we've had a lot of cannots this season where we're like, oh shoot.
it would just make no sense. There's no statistical support for it. There's not even intangibles support for it. It makes no sense at all, which is why
George, we've been saying that about Tibbs' rotation since he got here. It makes no sense.
I know, but now we're going to be 40 games. We're gonna
Hey,
be 40.
Brendel Perez in the chat said the starting 5 was just announced. If you can, chat, can you let us know? Oh, here he goes. You got it.
It's Burks, Fournier, Barrett, Randall, Robinson.
Yep. So can't do or will do.
I think it might, unless Fournier goes on a run and heats up, and it might happen because he's playing Boston for 2 games in a row. Then he plays the Spurs, which he should be able to, get some points against the Spurs, even though they're a good defensive team. But he should be able to. He can get a shot off. That's one thing. He hasn't. It's not like he's been struggling to get a shot off. He just hasn't been making it. If he continues shooting poorly, committing turnovers, and basically not contributing in any other way, I just can't see how Thibs can justify keeping him in the starting lineup when Kemba becomes healthy and available. Now, the problem is with Kemba, how long will that be? Will he last another 3 or 4 games and then have to rest and stuff?
The inflammation in that knee.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't like that report. Something didn't feel right. We still don't know what didn't feel right. There weren't any reports that kind of clarified what the injury was. They just said it's a sore knee.
Yeah, we don't even bone know. On bone. There was nothing in there, so that's what
And we don't even know if it was they did an MRI. They just said the tests. So,
but you would assume they did an MRI.
It had to, there had to be an MRI.
They didn't say. I mean, it seemed like we can't trust anything if they don't say it. We can't even assume, but you would think they did. But I mean, that's the so the worst part will be it'll be like Kemba, Fournier, and then when Nerlens becomes available, he'll put Nerlens in, and then we'll be back to where we were.
He better not start Nerlens.
Here comes step 5.
Content creators are going to have to start hosting meetings or something. The players won't do it, we will.
Oh, man. You never know, man. But I think it just doesn't. Okay, so you have Burks in the lineup because, I mean, he gives you offense and he gives you defense and he gives you nice size. He's switchable. He does get burned by the really small, speedy guards, but almost all larger guards do get burned by the small, speedy guards. But while we have Deuce, I just don't think Deuce is going to get the look that we had hoped. But maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe 3 weeks from now it could be a whole different story. But so you keep Burks in there, and if you want to start Kemba, because Kemba is the only true point guard we have. So you start Kemba, and then the rest of it is simple. RJ, Randall, and Mitch. That's probably what's going to end up happening, best case scenario, knowing Thibs. Unfortunately, Foxy.
I was just going to say, family, if you know what the Celtics lineup is, so like you were saying, if Marcus Smart's there, then he's a big guard. Like you were saying, it's not having a Dennis Schroeder's speed that he has to deal with, because their defenses sucked this year when Schroeder. They're 2 different teams. When Schroeder, they're terrible when Schroeder's on the court. The numbers show.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam L posted this here. This is another opportunity for RJ to run the show. Let's watch his shot attempts in the paint this game with Burks out there. Yeah, absolutely. I loved his paint presence in the previous game for RJ, and in general, he's been driving a lot more this year.
In that gorgeous little mid-range by the that was beautiful. I love to see 3 a game like that, 4 a game.
Yeah. He hit, I think, 2 little mid-range jumpers.
Something like
that. But the one I'm talking about, he went to his right, and that was sweet.
That was like on the left elbow of the free throw line, right? Yeah. That was gorgeous. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get into this game. Let's preview what's going on here. The Knicks are playing the Boston Celtics for the 3rd time this season. These are the stats for each team of the last 10 games. The Knicks are finally over 500 in the last 10. Haven't had that stat in a while. They're 6-4. They're scoring, averaging 102.5 points per game. They're only allowing 100.1 points per game for a net differential of a plus 2.4. It's nice to see that on the plus side. The rebounding is about 46 rebounds a game, but they're down to just 20 assists per game in the last 10 games. That stat is too low. We need that to get up there, but that also requires people shooting, making their shots. And on this team, a lot of threes are assisted in general. And if they're not hitting, we haven't been hitting our threes lately. We're probably around 20% for the past couple of games. So that's going to impact that stat. Field goal percentage also is kind of 43.5% low. But the Celtics themselves, they have actually not been playing that great lately. They're 4-6, 106.9 points per game, but they're allowing 106.1 points per game for just under 1 point differential per game. Their rebounding is a little higher than us, 46.5. They have more assists, 22.1, and their field goal percentage is higher, 44.1%. In general, how do you guys feel about this matchup tonight, Mr. Marquise Edwards?
Like I said, I'm excited.
Ixnay and the Wixnay.
Like I said, I'm excited about RJ stepping up again and going up against players like Tatum and Brown. I want to see if they can replicate the performance we saw against the Pacers. We've seen this season has been a roller coaster. You know, you get high after the wins, and then the Knicks turn around and they just do something out there on the court that just really discourages you as a fan. So I'm excited to see us put 2 games together of solid play. And I think that's going to go behind RJ and Julius Randle's performance. Are they both going to be able to step up again and be able to play off each other like we saw in the previous game? And then we also got players that have to step up around them. I know you guys, George more so liked Quick, but Quick has to get better out there. I think Foxy mentioned his stats over the last 5 games. I mean, over the season, but I got his stats over the last 5, and he's shooting pretty bad. He's shooting 11 points. He's averaging 11 points, shooting 33% from the field, and only 27% from 3. And whenever I look at those type of 3-point numbers from Quick, it makes me think about what Fox says on Sunday. You know, Grimes is the 3-point shooter that we expected Quick to be. I want to see Quick knock down his shots a little bit more, not even a little bit more, a lot more, because if he's not going to be the point guard of the future, then we need him to be a scoring threat. And if his shot's not falling, I really don't see him as the type of guard that's going to get into the paint and finish a lot. So his game is predicated on that shot. So we need to see him step it up. And I want to see him do big things tonight.
All right. Foxy, how about you? Who do you think, who are you looking for tonight to step up against these Celtics?
Like, I think, piggybacking on Keith's pause, that, I like to see just RJ and Randall have that aggressive, get to the hole, want to see the other guys hit it. Boston's 23rd in field goal percentage, 24th in 3-point percentage, 20th in 2-point percentage. So I think that we can, if we can play a good game there, they get to the foul line a lot. They're 9th. But they're a very good offensive rebounding team, the 6th in the league, 8th in total rebounds, 23rd in assists, though. So I'd like us to come out of our slump shooting and just shoot well. And so I'm looking for that. I'm not going to say Fournier. I think, I love Grimes. It's funny. I just saw my friend D's balling. D, how are you? We had a good conversation last night about Grimes' help defense in that last game, man. I just love Grimes. So I'd love him to be in there tonight, both on D, and let him, get that 3-point shot going for us on the kickouts.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. I will say Quickly has been his shot. He's been a disappointment in terms of his actual shot, his actual offense. I think defensively, he's been much better than I expected him to be. I think he's actually made a leap defensively.
He has defensively.
Yeah. And that's why you saw him to close that game. He played the last 15 minutes of the whole game. And that was when we took back the lead, or like held onto the lead and extended the lead. Now, it wasn't because of the offense he was giving us. It was the way he was able to move the ball around. his off-ball movement, his on-ball movement, his defense. He just provides a certain energy that is such a plus element to have on the court. And if he can contribute offensively the way he was last season, 40% from the 3-point line, I mean, we're missing that. We're really missing that. And you're right that Grimes is becoming the 3-point shooter that we thought IQ would be.
But he crashes the boards better than Q. He's a better defensive player, more physical. But also what bothers me is Johnny Bryant's supposed to be the point guard whisperer. I don't see those skills coming into IQ this year. His shot's not falling, and I just don't see him running the team right on offense, putting the guys in their place. I see him sometimes with this mentality of shoot first, then pass second. He had a couple of real bad shot selections in the last game. Like, what the hell are you doing? What are you putting that shot up so early in the shot clock and a couple other things? So I don't see him maturing on the point guard skills side. So
yeah, it was definitely a step down that game for him from actually being the point guard offensively, but defensively definitely has stepped up. So we'll see. But there's something about his chemistry though with RJ and Julius and Burks as well. There's a nice chemistry between those four, and let's just throw either Mitch or Obi. He seems to play well off these other guys, which is nice. He doesn't like play kind of against them in a sense, because that's sometimes what I saw from Kemba during that stretch when he wasn't going that well. He seemed like in the way often, or he seemed like a total non-entity on the defensive end. So we know that part, but there's a nice chemistry thing going. It's just his shot is just not there, and it's really disappointing because I'm a huge IQ fan. Huge IQ fan.
You just gotta start hitting that shot.
Yeah. All right. Well, here we see these are the season leaders for each team. Randall is under 20 points per game, 19.6, 42.3 field goal percentage, 10 rebounds per game, almost 5 assists. Those are excellent stats. Tatum 25.4 points per game. Whoa. But only 41.3% field goal percentage. Robert Williams III, about 9 rebounds.
George, you're funny. Only 41.3%. Like Randall's not is a smidge.
No, Randall's is bad, but then you see Tatum's, it's like, whoa. Man. Yeah, but I think he hoists a lot more threes. I don't know what he's averaging in terms of attempts, but it's got to be up there. He's always hoisting. Always hoisting. The Celtics, they've lost 2 out of the last 5.
A lot of pressure in Boston, man, on the pages, man. They lost the game late in the game again to the Spurs last night, and the fans are really cranky up there.
Yeah, and they should be. That team, I don't feel like they don't feel like a team with real purpose.
Especially with elite wings. You have 2 elite wings. You'd think they'd be more dominating.
All-star level. They have 2 all-star level wings in the prime of their careers. Unlike us.
Maybe just entering their prime.
Yeah, maybe just entering.
Yeah. Learning the game, man.
Yeah.
And just crazy
maybe
athleticism on a Brown and stuff.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, we also look like a team without real purpose and direction until Tuesday night. Tuesday night, we looked like a team who knew what their identity was. Last year's Knicks, even when we were still a 500 or sub 5, just barely sub 500 team, that team had an identity. You knew what you were going to get from them. This year, we don't know. From night to night, we have no idea. So in a lot of ways, the Knicks and Celtics are kind of similar for different reasons in terms of the actual players, but in terms of the net result on the court, they seem similar to me.
And you nailed it earlier when you said the impact of D Rose on this team. Without him, we lost so much of this team when he went out.
Yeah, just to drill down a little more specific on that. Oh wait, there we go. I don't want my big face there. All right, just to drill down a little more specific on that. When we say that the team is missing Rose, what we mean is his actual decision making. When the team is like, let's say when he's bringing the ball down And he sees Julius out there, he sees RJ or whatever, but the matchups aren't quite right. What he'll do is he'll ask for a screen to create a mismatch, which then he will either jab at the defense to try and get them to collapse further into the paint, in essence, opening up that mid-range a little more for his guys. And then he might even take a dribble back, and he'll jab at it again. And if he gets a clearing because those guys are sagging off him, he'll do that nice little floater, or he'll take it all the way, or he'll hit the guys that are open. And when we desperately need a bucket, he's the one who takes that shot.
Yeah.
That's what we mean by decision making. And you started seeing Kemba doing some of that when he came back. The resurgence Kemba, those 4 games. And remember, Kemba said, I sat there on the court, on the sidelines, and I watched the game. Remember, he got to watch Rose for a little while to see how Rose was approaching it. Because, RJ and Randall are specific kind of players. They need to be set up a certain kind of way. You can't just try to do your thing. Oh, it didn't work, and then just dump it out to them. No, you got to put them in a place where they can thrive. Give them the ball on the court where they can thrive. And Rose is so good. But he doesn't just do that with Julius and RJ. He does it with everybody.
Everybody collapses on him. So
elite. That's elite point guard, top level thinking that very few guards in the game today, very few guards ever in the history of the game have had. And he still has that. His physical attributes may be a little bit diminished, but that kind of thinking when he takes those 3-pointers, sometimes he takes it early in the shot clock because he's feeling and he knows, what? This is the right moment to take this 3. We still have a lot of time left in the game. If I hit this 3, it'll give us a nice cushion or whatever. He's looking at the game in that way, like in 4D almost. And that is just something that once it's absent from the team, you really feel it. You really feel it.
And he keeps his emotions in check so he doesn't get too amped up. That impacts the other guys on the lineup. Just love him. Class act.
Total class act. Total class act. He wasn't, because he was a Bull originally, but I always resisted wanting to root for him. But he's so hard not to.
I rooted for him. He used to go up against LeBron. LeBron is an op. You go up against LeBron, I'm rooting for you.
Yeah.
Just to be
hey,
honest.
we only have a few minutes left. We have 90 people in the chat. Have a favor to ask. We have 38 likes, so please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button, and please hit that all reminder bell so you don't miss out on any Into the Knicks-Verse great content. And while you're at it, do me a favor, please hit that subscribe for SV Nation and for the Sports Vibe TV. We greatly appreciate it. And shout out to everybody again. We appreciate all your support.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, any final parting thoughts? I actually want to end this so that I can make a drink before the game begins.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Smash the like button, subscribe, and just keep tuning in. We keep bouncing back and forth. We're doing we call it the Syndicate pregame show.
Knicks Syndicate pregame show.
Yes. The next one will be on Sports Vibes TV, and then vice versa. Yeah, Saturday. And I think it's a 4:30. I mean, for me, 4:30 start. So
you throw me off whenever you say that.
Yeah, 7:30 Saturday night. Yeah.
Well, what was that other game? It was like 3:30 start.
It was a 3:30 start here, East Coast wise. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's that's an NBA TV game, and tonight is a TNT game. So back-to-back nationally broadcast games, Knicks and Celtics.
I mean, I don't count NBA TV.
There it is. You heard it. NBA TV downgraded by Quis.
Honestly, I mean, it's my personal opinion. I apologize.
Hey. Sometimes before I had the NBA package, it's the only way I could watch other games other than TNT.
Yeah.
So I have a soft spot in my heart for NBA TV.
Hey.
Yeah, man.
No Peyton Pritchard tonight to light us up. So
even that's good.
Yeah, so hopefully there's not another no-name that's going to make a career game for themselves, but let's play hard-nosed. Tibbs, don't hit the kids, keep hurting the kids' confidence. Play Obi, play Grimes, play Deuce. It's good for the team.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You barely talked about Obi. Obi goes from 45 minutes
any minutes
to 9
we can't
minutes.
Even get him in a conversation.
That's a crime. And again, you don't want to hurt the kid. You know, we have the poster child of what you do to a young kid's confidence, Kevin Knox. Let's learn from it, please.
Yeah. I think Knox had farther to fall. He was the starting small forward for the Knicks, and then
in 1 year, though, all of a sudden he's not. So that's what I'm saying. You can't be doing stuff like that unless it's really, really justified. No. They're kids. It's a process, man.
It really is. You know, it's confidence. You know, it's feeling good about yourself, feeling that you're contributing in a good way. You know, when your minutes are jerked around like that, it definitely can be demoralizing. I hope Obi can keep his confidence up through this period. You know, I mean, let's put it this way. If Julius keeps Obi off the court because he keeps playing the way he did the other night, that's a good thing for the team in the short term.
I was going to say short term, but you don't want him playing right off of COVID, playing 40 minutes or stuff like that, man.
Yeah. But in the long term, it's not. So that's what we keep talking about here is when we say play the kids, we're not just talking about because we just want to see the kids. We're talking about because we want to develop them.
And also their great defense.
Yeah, and right.
And the energy they bring.
There you go. Look at all those reasons. Look at all those reasons.
Keys.
All right, guys. We're going to sign off now. The game's
John Mark, what's happening?
It was awesome. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. That was wonderful. You guys, we didn't even get into the chat that much because we were just
I know D's balling again. D, man, you're awesome. Everybody check him out. I think he's doing some stuff on the morning drive with Freezy, so check him out. He's a good friend of mine.
Awesome. Good, man.
That's
awesome.
Russian?
Who else is here? Sam L. Jean-Marc, salute to you.
Looks like the keys.
Sergeant Robert, 2764. Salute to you, man. Go Knicks, baby. That's right. Go Knicks.
Yeah, Michael West, president of the Foxy fan club. Hope all is well. Yo, John Mark, man, you're happening.
Yeah, one day we'll come out with our instruments. We'll jam out.
Right? I used to play the saxophone.
Oh, yeah? Ooh.
Yeah, I used to play the saxophone, the bass.
Damn. I love the sax.
Yeah.
Love the sax.
I was actually supposed to be part of a samba band, but that's a story for another day.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I got that going.
I'll make the thumbnail for that one.
Right? Subscribe to Quis Vlogs.
Yeah, why is my dog barking all of a sudden?
I'm telling you, the game is starting.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thanks so much, Foxy, Quis, for joining me here once again. It was a great show. Thank you, Michael West. All right, you guys, let's win this game tonight. Let's just sweep the Celtics the next two games. Let's get back to 500 and start, becoming the Knicks from last season. I think we saw a little bit of that the other night. Let's see more of it.
Let's be physical. Play New York Knicks basketball, physical basketball.
Mm-hmm. Let's get physical. And I will see you guys around the Knicks-Verse.
Yeah.